So internal range. Expectation is to trade back down into it. It's probably at the open we get a bit of a move. Clearly there's been some, there's definitely liquidity underneath these. I'd be surprised if we didn't take them at the open. We'll see if we get a reaction out of this. I'm probably going to be sitting on my hands for the first 20 minutes or so. It should take that high if it's going to come back down. We ran one side. We should be coming for the other. And I don't think the midpoint of that wick is strong enough personally, but we'll see. This is why we wait. Whoop. Can they do it? Whoop. Double dipped. Only consideration is if we respect here for short, or not short, but invalidation of the long in theory. Right, so this minimum should trade back up into this fractal. Should we continue to fail here? If not, then we likely go lower. Lots of selling pressure coming off of that range. There's your first conservative target. I just took that off there. right? So you're looking at, now this is still valid in theory, but when we talk about CRT, same setup. That's right. Literally same trade. Literally same trade, right? Still valid of a trade, right? This should take us here, right? What I look for is the failure at this candle, which tells me we have to go lower at least to the open of it. It doesn't invalidate the trade. I just typically, with my experience, I don't like holding through potential drawdown or incorrect. So I lock in my profits. If I get another setup in here, then I will take that again. But the idea at minimum is we're trading lower. Are we trading lower into somewhere? Yes. Have we purged liquidity? Yes. Right? You're probably, if you're still in, you're probably good to hold at minimum. Like this has now failed here at these candles open. We swept below this one. We should trade above that one. We did. Right? Up to you, obviously, if you want to lock in profit or not. We're failing the area that it needs to for the bearish cause. Right? But the idea is that should we fail at the SNDR that's responsible for this large move, that they're still interested in buying from here, still interested in swapping. Right? We've swept it already, so going below this might yield a movement back into it, but we're talking lower probability now. There it goes. All right, so let's walk through this a little bit more, kind of bar by bar. So we have a large range here, lots of volume. Should we fail on a lower level, we trade back into it at a minimum. And now we identify where. We might have the high. We haven't swept this yet. Right? So this is internal movement that's doing this. We expect some sort of a change in order flow at some point. Right? I think this is the 15-minute imbalance we were talking about earlier. Now, so we're trading lower. We're now looking for what? We've got little scalps that come out of here for sweeps, sure, whatever. But we trade below this candle. We open, we trade lower into our area of interest. We then trade higher and we end up closing here. So you got to take a shot. Right? We've swept something, cool. So should us be long in here, we're looking at this high. And should we get a blast through here, we're good for this high, which is our initial goal, right? We're expecting this to be a pullback to then continue the trend on our 15-minute. People are asking how to sort of spot 15-minute versus 1-minute price action. 1 minute has lethargic swings inside, whereas you're expecting this to be all one 15-minute swing. Right? So this was your 15-minute here. This is now a pullback, and away you go. Right? Whereas this is your higher time frame. All of it. We'll go over this more in depth. Right? We want the institutions to be involved right above our area of interest and have retail involved here. So should we get failure here, trading below it, sweep them all out, then the move occurs. That's an awful arrow. Huh. I don't like how it didn't sweep this candle. It did sweep the top of this one, so cautious. It might have to come back down again. Casual 20 or 30 points so far at minimum. It's not the imbalance itself, right? That's obviously a powerful area of interest. It's the reaction before price trades into it. Now, should this fail, now we've got our sweep. If we trade above and close above this candle, right? Now you're looking at a move to clear out this. But you've got to see some strong PA out of this. No. Right? This is decision-making time. This would have been the area. Actually, still could be, I suppose. But not really respecting this. Coming back into here now. Trading at the top of this range. We don't really have SNDR here holding us up. The only thing we have is this consolidation all the way back down. So should we get a tap out of this range and the inverse SNDR play here, that should take you back up into this consolidation. Did we get a sweep? Yes. Trading up to the open of this candle. Fireworks. See what happens with the top of this one. You're looking for, is the market going to aggressively push away from it? Or do we kind of get sort of lethargic selling that's immediately bought back up? Remember, 1.5 times volume needs to push away from areas of interest. Otherwise, it just stays there. How many swings we got? We got a high. Yeah, I'd consider that consolidation, actually. I'd consider this one swing, not really tried and true, of course, but one attempt, 2 attempts, 3 attempts. This is our 4th. Vicious. I think Tom was looking short this morning. I was more looking for a retracement to go higher. That's beautiful. With our higher time frame, that looks like a gross chart with all the stuff we got marked out. Yeah, I suppose if you're looking at structure, this would have tapped back into the midpoint of this. I was expecting a little bit higher for that area that we had marked out. What I'm looking at right now is that we kind of traded back down, did something sort of similar here. So we've got 7 minutes in this candle. We swept below here. We're now looking to see if we respect this area or not. So far, it looks like we are. What I don't like from the higher time frame is that we don't really have anything stopping us in the way up here on the 15, right? Typically, I would want something like that sort of, we've got like a key, well, actually we've got a key SMDR here, but that did break. I don't really, something about it just seems like it's a little off to me, sort of how it's delivering to the downside. All of this. Swings, yes. Part of structure, no. Expectation, violence. This is trapping shorts. How do I know what's trapping shorts? Just trust me, bro. FYI, that's a joke. Don't ever just trust. Yeah, thank you, Stallone. Price is fractal, man. Explain it to me like I'm 5. Just trust me, bro. Even me, especially me. I want you guys to ask 1,000,001 questions. Right? Why? Because it shows me you're paying attention. Celebrate. So we know that there's no structure formed here. Right? We've got our structural bearish candles have no body closures above. We can consider these swings, which we might get hate for in Twitter. But the alternative is suggesting that there's no attempts to reverse here. There's no valid pullbacks. And then you're not counting the amount of times that it's attempted to reverse all the way down here before going on a rocket ship. So like, what? This is just one swing, and we're just going to say it's a higher time frame. We're not expecting a reversal. Like, makes no sense. So, but what we use for the body closures is the understanding that we don't have 1 minute structure forming here. Why is that important? It's important because should we flip and go the other way, we're expecting non-lethargic price action back up because there's no structure holding it down. Right? So, we had our idea with the imbalance. It then flushed us all the way through. We understand that this movement up was going to be violent because of structure. And now what we're seeing here is sideways PA. So the candlestick videos talk about expectations of candles based off of what's going on here. Okay? So it's not the candle itself, it's the response. What are we doing here? We have a sideways candle here after a very strong PA. Forget the points, because this could be a 20-point move in 2 months. It could be a 40-point move. It's a like 300-point move today, 200-point move today, whatever. We're concerned about price. Whether these candles are 20 points or 2 points, who cares, right? So focus on the price delivery itself. So sideways, cool. Sweeping below here, but didn't take the high. What does that tell you? It tells you that they're enticing people to take short positions, because we haven't manipulated higher in order to start the failure process. Similarly here in reverse. So when we're looking at this accumulation, given strong bullish narrative and no manipulation higher, we're looking at they're just trapping the hell out of everybody looking short here. And the expectation after we tried failing again and we got this bullish doji, right? We swept below this candle now. This also would have been valid had we swept below this one. That would have been fine. Capitulation. And then follow through. And then a beautiful cheat code entry for those of you guys that have been looking at that stuff. When you say no structure holding it down, it's because it was all mitigated. No, I'm looking at this as we have attempts to reverse, yes, but we're sweeping above candles. We have no body closures in here, so there's no 1 minute structure. For it to be structure, we would have to have a body closure above this candle that broke the low, right? This candle ended up being our valid one. What happened when we traded above it? No body closures. No body closures, right? No body closures up here. Cool. The important thing is that we're trying to rally, so we know that we're leading to a rejection. This is not leading to a rejection. This is leading to liquidity. This is leading to a rejection. Very important price action delivery. As your decisions improve, your trading improves. I can't wait for this volatility to leave. Are you kidding? I can't wait for it to be gone. You can't, nobody puts a trading plan around 3 days 2 weeks in like 2 years. Although I think they're obsessed with it over the Asia session live streams. I'm just bugging you, V. I'm just bugging you. If you like the volatility, you don't want it to go anywhere. Right? Everybody dreams of Game 7. Anthony, I was talking about that with Les yesterday. We're driving past the mountains and we're like, did you see the chart? Did you see the pullback? Yeah, once you see it, can't unsee it. Oh, that's a nice little failure there. Hold on one sec.
Hi, everybody.
All right. Let's go. Go take a book, okay? And I'll see you later on.
Don't forget to hold my kiss.
You in the playroom. Child's obsessed with people. I don't know where she gets it from. Les and I don't like anybody. This is vicious. No, I'm just kidding. I'm very outgoing. I pulled Les out of her shell a little bit. She was very introverted. We always knew that we had a bit of a calling to serve and help as many people as we can, hopefully. So I guess it kind of got passed on to her. So what do we got going on here, lads? Feel bad for everybody that thought this was just going to cataclysmically go. But we're in a downtrend. Welcome to a short squeeze. Yeah, this large movement. All right, this is pretty much the only spot that I would consider a speed bump, which looks like that candle, but it's actually not. We zoomed down a little bit to find the last unmitigated swing, which actually was slightly above the midpoint there. Right. So we could technically refine this down to this. It's the low of that bull candle to the high of that one. And that's the only spot that I'd be looking for potential reaction to send us back down. But we're looking at this and literally no signs of rejection. In fact, we're seeing the opposite of it. So when you see these attempts to fail, right, those are, at one point, those are pretty strong bearish candles. Right? And they're just immediately bought up, you know it's higher time frame direction. So we're not expecting this to, do I expect another 170 points straight up? Probably not, right? We typically get a pullback into the range, although that's less likely with this drive. The issue with that is that we've now got a climactic candle, so people should be taking profits on it. You're starting to see a little bit of that right now. Right? We've got no structure, which means that in theory, we should trade back down to this. Now, this swing here is 15-minute SMDR. I don't know if you can kind of see on a 15-minute chart, actually. Right? So I'm looking at the predominant swing that broke structure. Right? Minimum target is this low if anybody is short. Right? You might get a movement back up into here given how violent this movement up is. Come back up for our, call it 5-minute or 15-minute pullback. Could even take this high, I suppose. But what you're looking at is how exactly should price move, right? And then that gives you clarity, because if we don't respect this high, right, which isn't part of structure, then we trade back up into here, cool. And now we have to determine, is this going to hold versus is this going to immediately reject, which would immediately take us below this candle, and then by extension this low. But in terms of clarity of the trade, what you're looking at is this, right? We've got a valid swing here. We trade up. We then break, right? So you have one swing here, creating a valid high. We then trade back up. We then trade below that, right? We didn't break this high, so we have 1, 2, and then trading back into the midpoint of here. We could wick above and fail it, I suppose, but I'm more leaning on the short side for a retracement back down to this. It'll be interesting to see. Wild didn't take this. Spooling higher to where? Possibly just guns for that high now, but we've got this 476. It's a ways off. So if we're going to trade back up to go back down, right, where's our target? We have a protected swing here. So in theory, we have multiple reasons to go back up. As this is trading down, you're looking at areas of interest that generated significant price movement. So this was the way on the way up, yes. Right, what do we have on the way down? We have this here. We're now sweeping this candle, yielding a strong buying position. Currently a weak high. Strong selling pressure coming in though, even though there's a large failure here. Higher time frame direction higher, not interested in shorting, but if it fails, it's going to fail out of here. All right, we still have its protected low here though. See where this goes. Right, so targeting that weak high. Need follow through above this candle. Not giving it much room to play around with. And gone. Gone. Didn't want to see that. Right? Yes, downtrend, weak high. If it's going to disrespect that weak high, then I liked seeing this failure in here, so I hit that. And just happened that it did just enough to get me not interested. Not interested in failure here to trade back down. Possibility of taking this low now, which would mean this high is strong, which we could tell based off of what's going on here. Right, so the probability lessens as you get bearish pressure above bars that are able to force it downward. This area here is a battleground. They're fighting over the midpoint of this zone. And so far, bears are able to generate nothing. They got to get a strong movement down to mitigate. There it goes. If you took the sweep, you're break even now. You don't want it coming back down. Your first expectation is trading above this candle. There it goes. I'm personally targeting this high right here, which is now weak. Failure above here, and I'm gone. Struggling a little bit here. It's got to push. 2, 1. I've moved my stop probably a little bit too aggressive, but we'll see. Apparently not. That just took me out flat. Or not flat. Small profit. Right? So should we fail here, that's a higher time frame. Or not higher time frame, sorry. This is kind of the theoretical trade that we're looking at. Ideally, we want it to trade into this. But if it leaves an imbalance, it's something else entirely. We've got a lot of reason to go down here. This is a speed bump on our lower time frame where we know that large PA came in terms of structural. This area mitigated our SNDR that took us above this midpoint. I can't say I would expect us to trade all the way back down to this range. But this velocity, if this continues and this was initiative, then we're really in for a ride lower. This would be the place that it would stop. Trading back up in, we've got our 15-minute change in order flow. This is how large moves start to the other side. Challenging imbalance trade. You can understand the validity of it for a scalp. Really good defense. strong movement out. Needs to clear this candle. If it can't, then we go back down. Sorry, we have a gentleman or a lady, I'm not sure, that is having trouble, so I was trying to fix it for them. Be very cautious going long here. You might get a squeeze above this, but this seems like it's really respecting things on the way down. Aggressive is when you see something touch the open and fail. It means there was an excessive selling pressure here. Right, so you get a sweep below. You would ideally like to see strong movement above the high. Instead, we're getting a touch of the range. All right, so inside the area we wanted. Not the trade I was looking for. Unfortunate that we got a nice move out of here. Can understand the validity of it. Wasn't anything I was interested in. I don't like typically seeing lethargic consolidation after large structural moves. And if that means I miss something, I miss something. And it looks like, especially if this continues, that a lot of people are on the wrong side. I kind of consider this a range. So what we're looking at here is where should the market, like this high generated a new low, right? And as we delivered, we had our structure that came down, right? So this pushed it lower, cool. The market traded up, as you would expect, and then this candle was responsible for putting in more PA. So when this candle closed above this one, it actually closed above both, in fairness, but when it closed above this one, and then the response was weak, that's no bueno. Now, if we get a closure above here, then we're looking at, do we have anything structural on the way up? We've got a swing here, which was already kind of dealt with. So we're kind of good to take these highs now. They make it very difficult to sit through these. You notice we haven't failed above here. We did fail above this high. Structurally, we're not looking at our candles as failure. So we've kind of got difference of opinions here. I took a short in here expecting this low after this tap back in and fail. I've taken this a couple of times today, as you guys have seen. Because price is telling us, or at least I thought it was telling us, that we were tapping back in to go lower. There goes that low. Looks like we're sweeping. Right? So a beautiful trade down. Now you need follow through. And the expectation would be, ideally, that high that we've left. Right? So first area of interest, we haven't swept any of these candles. So we don't want to see a sweep of this one, which would lead us to go lower. you're looking for the market attempting to sell off and failing. If it can't do that, then your long is in jeopardy from this sweep. Man, longs are not catching a break on this move so far. They've really got to push. For transparency, this is what I'm in currently, with the idea of taking that high. And if we go below again, yeah, I'm gone. That's brutal. Brutal. Exactly what I wanted. Trading above. Just immense selling pressure. So that is what it is. Right? So I don't like that we've broken here for the bearish side. One sec. Sorry, guys. So what we're looking at is, yes, we have a change in order flow here, which is concerning, but this area to me had the entire hopes and dreams of the bearish side on it. We've broken it, which might have functioned as the trade back in fairness, which is probably why we're seeing a little bit of selling pressure coming in, but not really thrilled with the follow through from the bearish side. Thing to be concerned about with these sort of movements is that, sure, we didn't sweep anything below, but we don't want to see this PA and then be looking long, trying to catch the big move when the pressure is all on the short side. With a body closure above this candle, no less. Trading back down to the open of it. Finding some support, that's good. Should this close strong, or I should say weak from the bear side of things, then we could be looking at a barbecue here. Right? So the entry was here. You're looking at a minimum of this structural at 95. Anybody grab anything there? That's a very challenging scalp, but right. So we're looking at this high, which was our protected high on the downtrend. Internal structure, sweeping below here, not good for bears. Right? So to recap what I'm looking at here, bias-wise, it's this. That area alone, for me, determines whether or not I'm looking long only or short only. So should we have traded back into here, swept it and failed, then I'm not looking for, you can take little scalps maybe, but highly risky. I've been long, I took one short in fairness. Nope, that's a lie. I took two shorts. One of them stopped at break even. I'm looking to see, do we leave this high at 438? 438 even, which would be peculiar.